Champions for Children has 4 quarterly conferences every year, and the first conference of every year is our Brighter Future Symposium. And so over the course of many years, we brought in a lot of different speakers to speak about issues related to children and how to raise our children well in our community, and how to help our children deal with adversity, how to deal with special needs, whatever issues is happening within our community that we can address. We bring in professionals, sometimes from outside of the community, but the last 2 years it's been people within our community who are working with our children locally every day, who can speak to what our children are going through right now, today in Tyler, Texas, Smith County, East Texas. And so our professionals are coming from working with preschoolers, working with elementary students, working with high schoolers and middle schoolers, also working with special needs kids, and so working with those who have mental health issues that they know about and that they're working through. And so whether the children are young or old, whether they are exhibiting issues of mental health concerns or not, we want our children to develop resiliency starting at that early age. And we define resiliency as just when life goes wrong, you know how to get up the next day and keep going. And so we want our kids to know whenever something bad happens to them, and it can be they fail a test, they didn't get a job, their girlfriend broke up with them, whatever things that are happening in their life that are leading them down a road of discouragement, what do they do, how do they respond, and how can they get up and keep going and keep persevering and can go on to the next thing, even despite the challenges that their life may bring them. And resiliency is across the board for every child. Piece of the puzzle that is going to make them a better adult when they grow up, and it's something that we can start teaching our kids in that early preschool space, in that early childhood education, learning skills. And so today we're talking about different ways within different environments that these professionals are helping our kids build resiliency.
Okay, that was great. So what is the significance of having the Brighter Futures Symposium at the beginning of each year, this being kind of your kickoff conference, if you will, for Champions for Children?
Champions' goal, our mission, is to equip adults who are caring for children to give them the resources to be able to care for their children better, to help them raise healthy and happy children. And so we do that through training daycare teachers every week. We also do that through working with parents and making sure that they understand what their children need to be successful. And then the Brighter Future Symposium is our chance to reach out to the general community. So we reach out to 5 different audiences: education, social work, mental health, and then also we reach out to the medical community and the criminal justice community. People who are going to engage with children, and especially children who may be in crisis or in a place where children are not acting the way someone might expect a child to act, and they have to respond. And so we want them to better understand, how do I respond to children in my environment who maybe aren't acting the way that I expect, and how do I help them overcome the challenges that they're facing to be able to be successful on the other side.
All right, and obviously in any community there are going to be children who are facing adversity, who have traumatic pasts or are currently experiencing trauma, but is there anything in particular going on in East Texas that you're seeing on a daily basis that you think this specific symposium will be able to address and hopefully either prevent or improve or anything along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. Resiliency is one of the key indicating factors for children that have experienced trauma and their success later on in life, but also it is the key indicator of success for all children. So whether those things that are happening in their life are little things or whether they're really big things, having an adult in their life who loves them and who's caring for them and who's giving them coping skills to deal with from the little things to the big things, that is what's going to make the difference in all of our children's lives. And so we can't predict at 2 and 3 years old who's going to have problems, concerns whenever they get older, but every child can benefit from the coping skills that are going to help them deal with life's adversity. None of us escape that. None of us escape disappointment in life. None of us never have to face failure. And so the better we can equip kids beginning at the earliest age, the more prepared they are to deal with adversity and to be able to move forward. We also know that the more adverse experiences a child has in that young space, that the more likely they are to have negative experiences as an adult. And so we want also to train adults to help children, to help them work through those issues, to help them find ways to deal with the things that are outside of their control. The things that they can't control, sometimes no one can control them. Sometimes they're just things that happen. It might be a natural disaster, it might be the death of a parent, not something that is a person being bad to them, but life is happening to them and they really have to learn how to respond. And so if we can train our adults to care for those children, meet them where they're at, and give them the tools to be successful and move on, to get up the next day and keep going, then that's what we hope that will make that lifelong impact in their lives.
What does it mean to you to look around this room and see so many people from all different walks of life and all different professions from all over this community coming here to learn today?
It's exciting because it means that we live in a community where people care about our children. And so whether they're dealing with children every single day, or they're only dealing with children from time to time, or maybe they're dealing with the parents of the children and they're teaching those parents resiliency tools, to be able to say that we have a community of people who cares about our children, who wants to raise up a healthy and strong generation. It means so much to East Texas. And so the people who are here on the panel, plus the people who are here in the audience, are the ones who are going to make a difference in the lives of our kids moving forward.
And what do you think this, like, what kind of an impact do you think this symposium will have on the children of East Texas?
I hope that it just opens those conversations, that we begin looking for proactive ways. Champions for Children works in the area of promotion of healthy childhood experiences, prevention of adverse childhood experiences, and intervention when necessary. And so we hope that this is that promotion piece, promoting really good, healthy experiences for our children so they can grow up, that they know how to deal with adversity, that they have people in their lives that they can go to when they're worried. And so just through this, and in the last year, our conference was on adverse childhood experiences. We had a group of people who have continued to meet and discuss how are we going to continue impacting children with adverse childhood experiences, with those experiences that we know have long-lasting impact. And so, our goal would be that this would also draw in a group of people who would be interested in how can we continue to build programs and skills for resiliency for our children, make sure that every child has access to the tools that they need to be successful.
All right, and in your professional experience and opinion, do you think that there is, for lack of a better word, a lack of resiliency in children in East Texas, or was there any kind of flashing red light that kind of led y'all to this focus for this year?
Overall, nationwide, the impact of these adverse childhood experiences that we're talking about, but also just the reality of the world that we live in, the social media world that we live in and that they're being raised in with cyberbullying and things like that. Our kids have so many negative influences pouring into them that we want to make sure that we promote the positive influences. And so while we address the negative at certain times, we also want to take the time to say, what can we do to help prevent, help promote the good things? And so children, yes, they're facing a lot of things. They have a lot of things that I didn't have growing up that they have to face. They have a lot of things with the internet, a lot of things with just the world that they're growing up in. But what we also know is that our kids also made it through COVID. And, as young children, some of them babies, their parents were facing a significant change in structure. And these kids have learned how to change with the times, how to accept what's happened to them and move on. And so we really believe that this next generation of kids is going to have a unique perspective on resiliency because they've had to, from the earliest of age, adapt and adjust and keep getting up the next morning and doing the next right thing.